Hello and welcome to the Todd And Debra Show. This is episode 8.
Today we're going to be talking about something that is so important to us, and we believe will be very important to you too if you have a cat, or even if you don't have a cat, if you know someone who does. Please share this information with them. Make sure they get the link we're going to give you, because this is an absolute crisis that's happening right now. And who knew that cats could even get diabetes? We didn't, but we have had 2 Maine Coon cats for years, and one of them, the older one, a few years ago started drinking water all the time. And cats, as a general rule, don't care that much for water. When we saw her drinking water and the water dish was empty every morning, we realized something was up. She was tired, took her to the vet, had the blood work, and sure enough.
Well, it was. And of course the vet then started talking about the way that you have to take blood tests and that you have to possibly give insulin shots and things like that for your cat. So it got rather hard situation, but then Deborah did some good research and actually came up with a website that offers a little bit of an alternative to the standard procedure.
In fact, it seemed too good to be true when I first found yourdiabeticcat.com. Please take the time to read that page so you can tell your friends about this if they have cats. Yourdiabeticcat.com. The doctor who has done all this research has discovered really over a couple of decades now, first of all, that cats don't get diabetes just because they're overweight, although plenty of vets will still tell you that. Cats get diabetes because they eat dry food now. Almost all cats are given dry food only. Now again, the pet food industry, that works great for them, but cats are carnivores, not omnivores like dogs.
They need a high protein diet. And of course, dry food is just the opposite. It's high carbohydrates.
She realized what was going on after a while, so she started trying experiments, switching diabetic cats to wet food only, and little miracles started happening.
Good number of her cats totally off of insulin.
She kept doing it, and sure enough, that happens, and I think she said about 80% of the cases, they can actually reverse the diabetes. But in some cases, the people have thought, well, that wet food was kind of a hassle. Dry food's so easy, we'll go back to dry food. And then the cats became diabetic again.
Well, and some cats just are, it isn't going to work, just like the insulin isn't going to work. I mean, some cats, it's just not a good situation no matter what.
Yourdiabeticcat.com website has not only those important paragraphs, like 7 paragraphs or whatever to read on the first page that you come to, but also look through there. There are wonderful forums. You'll learn so much more about how to administer the insulin if your cat is diabetic and how to take its blood. And these are all things that your cat doesn't like and you don't like to have to do, but it can save a whole lot of money rather than having to take it to the vet. And there are wonderful vets out there. We know that. But so many vets do work in connection with pet food industry, and the pet food industry really wants you to believe that they make dry food that's just fine for diabetic cats, but it's really not. There is no dry food that's good for diabetic cats. Right. There's no dry food that's really good for cats, but there is cheap wet food that you can get. It doesn't have to be expensive, and you'll even see a list of the ones that don't have carbs, because a lot of the ones with gravy and just other ones have carbs in it, and they're not really good for diabetic cats or cats in general that you don't want to get diabetes. It's a preventive measure to switch your cat now to wet food.
And if you're fortunate that it does have the positive results that a lot of cats show, then you don't have to go the insulin routine, which is a lot more expensive than buying canned cat food.
What a good point. In the long run, it's just so much easier to do this. You do have to get your dry food out of the house, not just out of the kitchen, but out of the house, because to them, the cats can smell it. They have great smell, and as long as they smell dry food in the house, they'll turn up their nose. They might turn up their nose to wet food for days, but eventually they'll start to eat it, and such wonderful things happen. Yeah. Not only does diabetes get reversed,
they lose weight.
They lose weight gradually in a good way.
Coats improve.
Oh man, ours used to have dander. One of our cats, not the diabetic one, but the other one had dander all over and a kind of messy coat. But within a few weeks of starting on the dry food only.
And your favorite?
Oh, my favorite, no hairballs. The hairballs, if you feed wet food to your cats, will disappear, at least with our cats, after about 3 months, 2 months. And we lost our diabetic cat after a couple of years. She'd had diabetes a long time. We didn't know. And, eventually she just couldn't take it any longer. But our other cat, we had to give her some dry food when we were rushed out of town on an emergency. And you know what? Had a hairball a day or two later. Yeah. So there's definitely a correlation there. It wasn't hot that time with the hairball, so must have been the cat.
So,
thanks for listening.
Yourdiabeticcat.com.
Yep. Look it up. You'll see what we're talking about. If you have any questions, our email is toddanddebra@gmail.com. And thank you so much for sharing this. I'm sorry we're so goofy about it and passionate about it, but we love our pets, as I'm sure you do. And for those of you that know someone with a cat, this could be seriously life-saving information.
Really.
Thanks for listening. See you next time.
Bye-bye.